Hey there friends, it's Missy again. Thanks for joining me today. I'm back with a new layout for the Hip Kit Club, and I'm using the 2018 August kits for this, and I decided that I'm going to start with some butterflies today. I've torn into lots of the pattern papers or cut into for my other three layouts, but I have not gotten around to using these beautiful butterflies yet. And this pattern paper is from the Maggie Holmes Willow Lane collection. And I thought I would just kind of start this layout by fussy cutting some butterflies. And I wanted to incorporate this light blue, almost aqua color as well, but there are no butterflies in that color. So all I'm going to do is trace one and cut it out. And so I'm going to use that as a layer. I thought I would layer a couple, like 2 or 3 together in different colors and different sizes and just create some layered butterflies. And that's always fun. And this is really easy to do if you have patience to fussy cut. And these aren't too hard to cut out because they're a pretty simple shape. But here you can kind of see what I did. I just layered 3 together and then I ran them through my sewing machine and stitched right through the center of them using some metallic gold thread. And some of them I did 4, some of them 3. I just wanted a variety of the different colors. So I've got purple, yellow, aqua or light blue, and the darker navy-ish, royal-ish blue. And I'm going to scrap this picture today, which is very rare because both of my girls are in the same picture, and that hardly ever happens. And I'm going to use this Project Life card. It's one of the exclusive cards, and it says this was truly amazing. And it was, because they never sit beside each other. I had to run and get my camera. I couldn't believe it. They were sitting beside each other. One of them doesn't have any pants on, the other one doesn't have a shirt on, which makes it even more amazing because that's that's just how they are. But anyway, we can talk about the picture later. What I just did there was I took my palette knife and I sliced along the Z and the G so I could do exactly what you see me doing right there. I wanted to layer the photo underneath those letters so they didn't get covered up by the picture. And that's a good way to add some dimension and texture on your page, is just to slice around things so you can layer them under or over other things. So now I'm going to start to build the layout. I'm going to use some scraps of some Project Life cards and then a few of the other ones. I've got a scrap piece of paper that I've used for something else right there, and that's another Maggie Holmes paper, and then some of the Project Life cards. And I'm going to try to keep this layout to these 4 colors that I've got going in the butterflies. And I'm going to use white cardstock as my background since this is a unique color scheme. It's a little bit different, and I didn't really have a pattern paper that complemented all of these colors together without being too much, and so I just went with the white. And I'm just kind of playing around here. I don't know where I'm going to put these butterflies, and I really want to use that circle pom-pom frame there, but it's so bright, so yellow. And I put it in a couple different places. I cut it in half to try to split it up and spread it around, and it kind of comes and goes. But the yellow in the butterflies is more of a mustardy, greenish yellow. It's not like a bright sunshiny yellow. It's definitely a different tone. And so I didn't want to have 2 different shades of yellow, and I wasn't going for the sunny yellow vibe. So I glued all that together, and then I did some stitching. I just went around the Amazing card. There was already a black line around it, but I just stitched through that line with some black thread just to kind of add some texture. You can't even really tell, but I can tell. So before I do anything else to the background, I'm going to do what I always do, and that's coat it with some gesso. And that's clear gesso right there. It's pretty thin, easy to spread. It's pretty gritty, but that doesn't bother me. And it's going to sort of stiffen up the paper a little bit more and create a barrier between the paint, the water, and the paper. And it's going to allow me to blend and smudge and let the paint and liquid kind of run together without it soaking right through onto the paper. And I'm using the packaging technique here with some of the shimmers, and I love how that looked when I smudged the plastic down. It just sort of spreads on its own. I used the 2 blue tones from the color kit. We got 3 different shimmers, and I used the blue, the darker blue paint, which is an Inklings called Oaky Bear Blue. It's a really pretty shimmery navy blue. And then I mixed that with the Well Blue Me Down colorings, which is more of an aqua color with no shimmer. And I just kind of mixed them together, and then here I come with the the Well Blew Me Down again. I'm just going to add some splatters, and I just kind of tilt it, the paper, and let it run and blend and smudge however it wants. And I love doing that. I just think it kind of does all the smudging on its own. Well, not smudging, but blending together and running together and everything. So I know I want to just do sort of a little straight line, well, kind of straight, it's not super straight, kind of crooked, line of butterflies over on the left, because the picture is not completely centered on that amazing card because of where the Z and the G go in relation to my picture. I didn't want the letters to cover up any of the girls' head, so I put the letters in between empty spaces there, which made the photo not be front and center. So I kind of wanted to add something to that white space on the left. So for some yellow here, I pulled out the Pink Fresh Studio liquid watercolors in the yellow color. I believe we got that last month in the July kits. And it is tremendously, that's not even the right word. And I don't want to say super because I know we overuse the word super, but it is very yellow, very, very yellow. And so to tone that yellow down, I'm going to mix in some of the gold shimmers that we got this month. And that's the Inklings Minor 49er, and I'm using that right there. It's a really pretty thick gold paint with lots of gold shimmer. And I thought if I mixed that with that bright yellow, it would sort of tone it down and add more of that mustardy color yellow. And it did. It worked out a lot better, I thought. Still a little too yellow, so I'm just going to tone it down a little bit with some white gesso there. And it works out perfectly because I didn't want super bright yellow on the background. And I think when the gold kind of dries and I spread it thin like I'm doing here with the palette knife, it matches the yellow and the butterflies really well. Or it's not the same color, but it complements it really well. And I think you can kind of tell that, you know, there's yellow on the left side of the layout, there's yellow on the right, and it just sort of complements each other. And the background without anything on top of it looks like a hot mess, but I'm just sort of customizing it to fit the design that I've already got going here. And so I'm going to add some splatters again with the gold and the Well Blew Me Down. And I think it's going to turn out okay. So I'm mainly going to have the darker blue on the left, the aqua at the top, and the yellow on the right. And it looks totally different when I add my picture and all of that back on top of it. And I love the technique of having the paint sort of peek out from behind everything. That's one of my favorite things to do. I think I do that on every layout, and I don't even intend to. It just happens. This is the Maggie Holmes Willow Lane sticker sheet. I'm going to try to go through all the embellishments we got. This is another one of her sticker packets with a ton of leaves and little flowers. I'm just going to create a little cluster over here on the bottom right side of the picture. It's just very small, just to add a little something something over there to that area. I wish there were a bunch of these sticker sheets of these flowers and different sizes too, because I would use those on everything. You've got 2 different colored leaves. You can mix and match. It's awesome. I try to use this chipboard piece because it matched great. I just didn't have a spot for it. I am going to use this sticker that says "Together is the best place to be" because they were together. And I'm going to tuck it in over there on the left. And then I have 2 more of the layered butterflies. I'm going to situate them over to the right side at some point. This is the Willow Lane puffy stickers, and they're so, so cute. There's hearts, stars, little critters, little phrases. So, so cute. Now I'm going to pop this whole thing up with some adhesive foam, and it's just going to give it a little bit of height, create a little bit of dimension and shadowing effect, which I love. And that's my little edge distresser there. Just kind of ruffles up the edges so they're not so perfectly smooth. And I know that that's going to go there. I'm pretty much finished with that part. So I'm going to go ahead and glue it down and then finish adding foam to little places that need it. And one of my favorite things about layering butterflies like this and stitching right down the middle is that it frees up the wings for them to be folded up, and it just gives you instant dimension. It makes it look more realistic and 3D, like they're just going to fly off the page, and I love that. You can also do that with flowers or hearts or circles. So here's where I decided to do, or what I decided to do with the other two butterflies. I am going to pull in some thread, and I'm going to use some darker blue thread just in a few places. I'm not going to forget my thread this time. I can't believe I forgot the thread last week. I don't know what happened to me. I had it sitting there and I just forgot to use it, and I didn't realize it until I was editing my photos, and I thought, yeah, no, I'm not going to go back and rephotograph that. So, but anyway, it turned out. But I did not forget the thread on this, and I did leave the thread, the gold thread on the butterflies, sort of messy and stringy, just because I thought it looked appropriate for butterflies. Because normally if I use butterflies and I'm able to, I'll stitch the little air trail behind them, but in this one I didn't really have spots to do that. I'm gonna go with these little purple alphas to start my title, and I'm gonna name this Makes My Heart Happy, because it does. And I toyed with the different things that I wanted to use for the title, but I really wanted to use pieces that I had, and I wanted to use that happy. I love that font. I just think it looks so fun. And so I just sort of decided to create my own title using the alphas and the black clear stickers, all from Maggie Holmes. And I love how that looks kind of stacked together. And I've been really dying to use these white rub-ons, but I had not had a dark space to do it yet. And I had the perfect little space on the bottom of my photo because it's dark and it's just negative space, and they rubbed on perfectly. If you have a dark photo and you have areas on it, it also rubbed on top of this gesso and shimmers. Can't really see it that well. I just kind of did a test there, but it worked great. I know sometimes we get rub-ons. I think in last month's kit we got some rub-ons that did not rub on at all. I think everybody's were just, the product itself didn't work, but these are fantastic. I mean, you barely even have to rub them and they're coming off. It's great. I wanted to just keep going, but I didn't want to fill up the whole picture. I'm going to create a little cluster down to the right of the title with one of the Amy Tangerine puffy inflatable hearts. They're so fun. And then with another little flower sticker and a little puffy heart. I'm just trying to incorporate all of the main colors there, the yellow, the purple, the blue, and the lighter blue. And so for the lighter blue, I'm going to add in some thread underneath that heart. And it took me a little bit to get it to where it wasn't overkill or too much. And I like how that looks. And then after I get all this done, my dilemma is, where am I going to journal? Because I didn't want to clog up the bottom area. I really liked the white space. And so I pulled this tag from the ephemera pack, and I just decided to make my own journaling tag, and I'm going to make it hidden. So that was a Project Life card that we got, and I just traced this card, and I'm drawing some lines, and then I'm going to write my journaling, poke a hole in the little circle area, and then add some twine or some cord. I never know what that stuff's called. Up at the top right there to finish it off. And then I'm going to stick it right back here. Now, keep in mind, I've already glued this down. And if you ever wonder if the Scotch tacky glue works, yes, it did. I had to use some muscle to get that pulled up. And I finally had to go and grab my little spatula there to kind of dig in there to unstick it, but it worked great. And now I'm able to stick my journaling down there, and you can't read it until you pull it out. And sometimes that's a great thing to do. I don't do that a lot, but in this case, I didn't want to add a bunch of black writing down at the bottom. So that worked out great. And, but yeah, that Scotch tacky glue is definitely tacky. It worked great, but I had to pry it open. I probably ripped the background a little bit, but you can't see it. Anyway, I'm going to finish this off with some more gold splatters, and I did add the date, and that's the final layout. I love how this turned out. This took me 4 days to finish. I don't know what my problem is lately, but I feel like I'm dragging. But I finally got it finished, and I love how it turned out. I think the color scheme is really, really pretty. And I love this picture. It's very special, and I just think it's cute, and it's just something I wish they would do more often. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions about any of the kits or the techniques or anything at all, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.